Hi, it's Mary Allen with IT in Canada, and I'm here today at a Mars workshop run by the Ontario Brain Institute. I'm speaking with Ken Evans, who is the CEO of the Ontario Cancer Biomarker Network and also Executive Director of Brain Code, an OBI initiative. Ken, thanks for taking the time to speak with me this morning.
Oh, thank you.
I'd like to start with a very broad question, Ken, and ask you to comment on how IT has changed medicine, but also on how IT has evolved to meet the needs of medical researchers.
Sure. Well, what's happened with medical research in the past few decades is that we've grown increasingly complex in the kinds of measures we're taking. So with the advent of genomics and imaging technologies, the kinds of data that we're dealing with are much, much larger data sets. We need the processing power, the size of the storage facilities, and the security measures in place to deal with those things. So that's an enormous set of challenges that we needed the infrastructure to grow to meet. So what has happened is that they've kind of grown in tandem, whereas the technologies for, say, biochemistry have grown, or for imaging technologies have grown, so too have the technologies for information technologies and bioinformatics to manage these huge data sets.
Can you tell us a little bit about Brain Code, about the project goals, and also about the IT setup that you have to support the Brain Code initiative?
So Brain Code is a collaborative venture funded by the Ontario Brain Institute, whose purpose is to harness the existing capabilities within the province for managing and dealing with these large kinds of data sets, the big data that we're constantly managing in the world of medical research. So Brain Code involves 5 different groups, including our own, the Ontario Cancer Biomarker Network, as well as the group at the Rotman that does the imaging side of it, ARC, the group at St. Mike's and Li Ka-shing, which deals with clinical trials infrastructure, the High Performance Computing Virtual Lab at Queen's University in Kingston, that is really our hardware and secure capabilities there for managing these data, as well as Khalid Al-Imam's group in Ottawa, eHill, which is dealing with security encryption of patient IDs to meet various privacy concerns. So this is a collaborative venture that's really taking data from a lot of different kinds of research programs, from spanning a broad range of disease states within CNS disease, and the purpose is to collect these data, whether it be imaging or molecular data or clinical data, putting it all in one place from across these diseases so that later on we can mine these data to understand these disease states in entirely new ways. It's a really exciting initiative.
Okay, so you've put together the technology platform to allow medical researchers to collaborate amongst each other and to make data more accessible to medical researchers. But I understand from your conversation this morning that you're also reaching out to other communities. So who are these other communities that you're looking to engage, and what's the purpose of this engagement?
Well, the research community is obviously intrinsically connected up with the clinical community, the people that are involved in treating the patients, but a really critical group to get connected for this sort of initiative are the patients themselves, trying to find ways to engage in the research process beyond just a simple one study, one-off kind of event. What we want to do is see that the patients are engaged in the process where they contribute data in an ongoing basis, perhaps throughout their entire lifetime. We all should be participating in this because we all have a vested interest in ensuring that the researchers come up with the best data that they can so that we can have the best chances of curing these diseases that we all are ultimately going to get. And so it's really, I think that this is the kind of way that the medical field is thinking about the future, is that we need to really work in a much more integrated fashion, not just across the different disease states and different technologies, but with the patient groups themselves, getting them really involved.
And what are the technologies that you're going to use to engage the patient community?
So we're very interested in using social networking tools, establishing social networks so the patients can create a community if there isn't one already in existence, where they can share information amongst themselves, amongst the caregivers in some cases. We're very interested in using as many different tools as we can find that are going to engage the patients, such as putting together sites that are information sites, which will provide them with information about the disease or ongoing research efforts and so on. So really trying to access whatever tools are possible. And of course there's the Facebooks and the Twitters and these sorts of other kinds of software that could help us engage the patient in other ways.
Ken, can you talk to us a little bit about some of the key challenges that you face in creating this community? I heard a lot about issues around data standardization this morning.
Yeah, it's an enormous problem throughout medicine, and it has been forever. Essentially, the issue is this, that if you're trying to record information from a particular study about a patient, how you ask that question really matters. So even as something as simple as a birth date, if it's day, month, day, year, if the data is not recorded in a consistent fashion, it's difficult to put those data sets together. So it's really important that we find ways to do that. It gets a lot more complex, obviously, when you start talking about things like symptoms and how you're assessing those symptoms and what have you. So those are real issues. There's no doubt about that. I think that there's a number of other issues that are really important to the community that I think we have to address up front. We really need to give people the confidence that we're going to handle their data in a secure manner, for example. Their privacy is truly going to be protected. And we use bank level, actually better than bank level security in our systems, but at the same time, there's other people are obviously going to access these data and then analyze them. So we want to make sure that nothing is going to be given away that's going to in any way harm the patient or endanger their privacy. So all of those procedures have to be worked out in place. We're working with the Privacy Commissioner and other groups to ensure that what we're doing is the right thing and that everybody's happy with the way it's being handled.
Mm-hmm. Thanks very much. Can we have a final comment from you on what you see as the possibilities for the evolution of medical research based on IT developments in the future?
Well, I believe that these massive data sets we're putting together are really going to revolutionize how we understand diseases. Right now, diseases are defined according to historical definitions. So we believe depression is a series of symptoms, and people that have those symptoms have this disease. The reality is that population is highly heterogeneous. There's many different shades of that disease. At the same time, other conditions may have some of those same sorts of symptoms, and so being able to look across different disease states, across large populations, and examine these symptoms, examine their gene profile, examine their imaging profile, and so on, can allow us to re-stratify, to redefine what we mean by a disease. And if we can do that, and we can get to the underlying etiologies, the causes of the disease, through those kinds of mechanisms, the treatments that we're going to develop are going to be far more sophisticated and far better. So that's really what we're looking at, is really changing the entire paradigm of what medicine is, how we define diseases, and how we treat them.
That's fantastic. Best of luck with this important project, Ken, and thanks for your insight this morning.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay.